Welcome to the Club Calling Show, brought to you by Sky Bet. If you want to get involved, check out the link down below on Discord to send in your questions. We're opening up with some voice notes from the fans.
Right, let's go into it. Here's the first voice note.
Hey, I'm Damon, a Liverpool fan, and my question for you is, if you could pick one player from your club's history to play this last year for your club, who would it be, and what difference would they make for you? So, like, I know everyone will think, like, Steven Gerrard would be the Liverpool player for this year, but the right answer is Luis Suarez. Luis Suarez plays for Liverpool this year, and they're invincible. He definitely scores against Nottingham Forest, and Liverpool probably go unbeaten this year with Luis Suarez as their number 9. All right, thanks, guys.
All right,
it's great. It's great. It's a great question. It's very interesting, and it's the point that he made there about Luis Suarez is probably correct.
I was intrigued by the angle he went, because he went for we'd be unbeaten in the Premier League rather than we'd still be in the Champions League, which I think Luis Suarez would give him a huge opportunity.
Probably
as well.
both. But I think Gerrard. I think the same about Gerrard. Like, look, Szoboszlai's been all right, but Steven Gerrard's one of the best to have ever lived to have played in that position. It would obviously elevate that midfield, and I know that Gravenberch has done a wonderful job. He no doubt. But the way that Liverpool have conducted their business over recent years, missing out on Bellingham, missing out on Lavia, missing out on Caicedo, I think that they would be hugely improved by Gerrard. I think he's a Liverpool fan.
I agree with you, by the way, but
I think it would be Gerrard.
Just devil's advocate. So I don't agree with the question I'm going to ask you, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Let's say would Steven Gerrard fit into the tactical setup and system? Because one of the things about Steven Gerrard was he was a very individualistic player who kind of just grabbed the ball by the horns and just went for it.
But there was nothing he couldn't do. So whatever Arne Slot asked him to do, as a midfielder, he was the most robust and most capable and probably the most versatile of all of the midfielders that played in his position. You know when we do the comparison, Giggs versus Gerrard, Gerrard versus Lampard, whatever spin you put on it, I think everybody has to concede that Steven Gerrard is the most versatile. So I think whatever Arne Slot needed him to do, and if you think about what he would need him to do, he would need him to be the best version of Gerrard. He would need him to be the goal-scoring version of Gerrard. I'm surprised. I think it's a really interesting question, but Luis Suarez, obviously...
I'd rather have Prime Gerrard.
In this Liverpool 100%. team.
100%.
Yeah, I do as well.
That midfield is missing something. That's why they lost to PSG. Their midfield...
Mate, Harvey Elliott, Endo...
Szoboszlai is a little bit overrated.
Szoboszlai. He's not very good, Szoboszlai.
Yeah, he's a touch overrated. He's a Gerrard-esque player. He likes taking long shots, doing things individualistically. Gerrard was way better than him.
And what about for if we take on his question and we make it relevant to your own team? Who on earth are you going to pick?
I'd go...
Because you could literally pick anyone from literally anyone helps.
The 3 names that...
Gary Pallister helps.
The 3 names that immediately spring to mind. Gary Pallister was amazing. The 3 names that immediately spring to mind were Keane, Rooney, Cantona. Cantona was such a great leader, and we need a striker. Like, we're crying out for a striker. Wayne Rooney could play up front, be on the left, on the right, could go anywhere, and he's a great player. And Roy Keane, again, in terms of, being in that midfield. Casemiro started to look good recently, but for a long time we didn't have anyone in midfield. So
does Rooney get you in the top 5 now?
No. Nobody does that.
No
one man can.
Prime Ronaldo?
No, but no one man can.
You don't think?
Rasmus Højlund will not be in the top 5 regardless of who he's playing with.
Just to answer his point, there's been a lot of times recently, more recently under Amorim rather than under Ten Hag, and I know you hate this, but you look at the chances United have created and the XG and all that. With a good striker, we actually should be winning most of these games. And Wayne Rooney is a very good striker. Eric Cantona.
So Rooney up top, you think top 5 or just top half finish?
Top 5.
Top 5, wow. That's a big statement. It says a lot about what you think about Rooney.
For us,
I don't think it's that far off, to be honest. But
I just don't think that there's one. I think you could almost say 2 men. I think you could go Cantona and Rooney, and this team still struggles.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know if they struggle. With those leaders.
Prime Cantona, Prime Rooney.
No, maybe not.
Under Amorim, you see a very different team with those 2.
Yeah,
maybe they struggle under Ten Hag because it kind of felt like it was going that way anyway.
They win the league with those 2.
What about for you?
I thought Yaya Toure for me, actually, to have a bit more control in that midfield. Missing Rodri as well this season. I think in the Champions League game, losing to Real Madrid. Imagine Yaya against that Real Madrid side.
If you had to pick one, so if you were doing like an all-time 11, and one of the rules, just for the sake of it, is you can only have Toure or Rodri. Who do you pick?
For big game moments, it's Yaya Toure. It's like how we say about Drogba's a big game striker. I think Aguero's a better striker than
Didn't Rodri
Drogba,
score in
but
the Champions
Drogba's got
League
those moments. What's that?
Did Rodri not
Yeah,
score in the Champions League?
he does, yeah. I just think, Yaya's got more of them big goals that have cemented Man City's position in English
Who's
football.
just a better player out of the two?
I was about to ask.
I think they're both equally as good.
No.
No,
So are they your two if you do a midfield?
They're slightly different positions as well.
Are they in your all-time City?
Yeah, they
both of
both
them?
get in, yeah.
Who's the
With De
third?
Bruyne.
De Bruyne.
No, David Silva.
I tried to slot
Feels
him
like
on
an
the wing.
oversight.
I tried to, but over who? De Bruyne's better than David Silva. I love David Silva. De Bruyne's better than David Silva.
It's interesting, isn't it? I think for us, again, similar to Manchester United, you could almost say anyone. You immediately go Terry because of what he would bring to that back line, but also what he would bring to the entire team. The standards that were set by John Terry have been lacking this season. There is this myth going around in football. I don't know if you boys believe this, but have you seen this whole thing where we all pretend that Levi Colwell's a really good player? Have you seen it?
Wasn't he? Didn't
like in the
someone want him
England
for
squad and all
60
that.
million at some point?
Yeah.
Was it Liverpool?
Yeah, Liverpool
Yeah,
apparently were
Liverpool.
linked, but I don't think
Yeah.
they would have made it happen.
What about Kante?
Look, Kante would obviously elevate the midfield.
Would you
but
win the league with Kante?
winning
Same
the
side,
league?
but with Kante?
Mate, no.
You
no.
don't think?
God, no.
What he did with Leicester City? You got a better side than Leicester City.
There's
How-
no,
how
no,
has
we
he gone-
haven't.
how has he
no,
gone
we
this far
haven't.
without
Who's
saying
on
Frank
Vardy?
Lampard, by the way?
Who's on Mahrez?
Cole Palmer, and then you'd have Kante.
It's the manager as well, isn't it?
yeah.
It's the manager. But Terry is the one that springs to mind because of the standards. He would demand the best from, like he would demand the
How have you
standards
got
from
this
us.
far without saying Frank Lampard? You're
Well, no,
a
I'm going to
disgrace.
finish on. I'm finishing on that.
I'm sure you'd love to.
So you go. So you go. Terry for the standards, but I mean, if you think about what Lampard would bring to the team, if nothing other, and it's so much more than this. But how many games do you win because Frank Lampard scored you 30 goals that season?
And one of the
How
things,
many more points do you
Lampard
have?
and Caicedo. Poor.
And also, like you look at Lampard, he's very different. It's kind of like comparing Keane and Giggs and Terry and Lampard, like in the way, like Terry's a very vocal, visible leader where you can see his leading on the pitch and he's the captain. Whereas Lampard's more like Giggs, where he just works hard on
Yeah.
the training pitch,
A
works hard in the
captain-
game,
a
never
captain
stops,
by
and he
example.
still does the same things
Yeah.
as John Terry
Yeah.
in that sense.
Yeah, and then there is a place. You know, when you think about where our team are lacking, like what we need. It's not only about the players, but just when you think about this Chelsea team, what do we desperately need? You could almost go Diego Costa, just a centre forward. Didier Drogba.
You need 11 guys from 2004.
Yeah, we need and Joe and
to get
if I'm
Ferreira.
really picking, if I don't know if the game allows me, but can I get rid of Enzo Maresca and bring in Jose Mourinho? That's the real game.
No.
That was a good voice note to get us off and underway. Remember, you can get your voice notes in. Just click the link in the Discord below, and you can leave us a voice note that we can react to on next week's show. Should we play another one?
Go.
Hello, my name's Hanif. I'm an Arsenal fan. I've seen it done separately, but I think it's going to cause chaos in the office if I say them all together. A Premier League combined 11 between Manchester United, Chelsea and Manchester City. Let the chaos ensue.
I don't think this is going to be chaotic because if everybody adopts the way that I'm going to approach this, there will be realism, there will be honesty, and there will be true
What formation?
knowledge. Let's go what would you rather?
4-4-2.
4-4-2.
Really?
4-4-2.
That's proper. Does
Right.
you a mischief?
Should-
that.
should-
Against- no, it doesn't.
4-4-2.
Two strikers.
4-4-2.
I need a striker
4-4-2.
position.
Should we just do the obvious really quickly?
I think it's 8 United players, by
Ashley
the
Cole
way.
left back.
Ashley Cole's in.
Nobody's arguing Ashley Cole left back.
No, two United centre-backs,
Not John Terry.
Ferdinand and Vidic, just because of the combination, but then maybe, Terry and Ferdinand. Right back, Carl Walker.
Kyle Walker or Neville. So there's a debate to be had there. Like if we rattle through, right? Let's
thought
just
it'd
do
be
it
like
really
nine
quickly.
The
United
most difficult
players.
position is probably goal.
Who's the goalie? No, I don't think it's that
Well,
difficult.
we got Van der Sar.
I just think
Peter
it's
Schmeichel,
I
Cech.
just always think it's Schmeichel, but
You got
Schmeichel. It's easy.
yeah, I just think it's Schmeichel. It's
It's
just
easy.
Schmeichel.
no.
Also, Peter Cech had a pop at me, so sod him. So Schmeichel,
No, I'd put Gary Neville right back.
Neville right back, Ashley Cole left back. Look, this is easy. I think that the centre
Rio
halves
Terry.
are Terry. Yeah, again easy. Midfield 4.
My
Roy-
shout would always
Roy
be De
Keane has-
Bruyne.
So
I think
left
De Bruyne
wing,
deserves a
left
shout.
wing is Giggs.
In a 4-4-2, De Bruyne is a winger.
Is left wing
Yeah,
Giggs?
right wing.
Left wing's Giggs
Yeah, I
without a
guess so.
shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
13
Well,
leagues.
forget-
Ronaldo.
Just
Ronaldo?
Giggs.
Giggs one side, Ronaldo the other side.
Yeah, Ronaldo the other side.
Then central
Keane and
midfielders.
Scholes.
Keane is one of them.
I think Lampard is one of them.
It's
Keane
not.
and
It's not. It's
Scholes.
not. If it's not
Is
De
that
Bruyne, it's not Lampard, is it?
Oh, who said it's not De Bruyne? I don't think it's De Bruyne, but who's?
I think if it's anyone that's not a Man United player, it's De Bruyne
Did
in
you see
midfield.
that overlap? Jamie Carragher went to me. He went, is De Bruyne in everyone's Premier League? And I was the only one to just sit there with my hand out. And he went, so who's in yours? And I went, if it's a midfield 3, Keane, Scholes, Vieira. And he went, what if it's a midfield 4? And I went, Beckham, Keane, Scholes, Giggs.
too
Just
easy.
like I was 10 years
too
old.
easy.
Yeah.
So childish.
Yeah,
man.
love that.
I'm down for that. So we got Ronaldo, Giggs, Keane, and Scholes. Yeah.
I think Keane,
Yeah.
Lampard,
Look,
Rodri.
I've got a lot of United players in here, so I'll let you pick the use two.
I
Decide
don't see how.
upon
I
Keane's
don't
partner.
see how Lampard isn't in it. Who can keep Lampard out of it?
A guy's won 11 Premier League titles. De Bruyne's got more Premier League titles. De Bruyne's better than Frank Lampard, in my opinion.
There's a lot of people.
I know you don't agree with that, but I think more people agree with me than you about Lampard, for sure.
Oh, mate,
Scholes and De Bruyne's an issue.
the modern day fan agrees
Yeah,
with you.
De Bruyne's an
undoubtedly.
issue with Scholes, but I think De Bruyne's a more well-rounded midfielder than Scholes, but what
And
can
then
I say?
The
Up front,
okay, the midfield is a problem. Let's just maybe come back to that. Up front, I
Kante.
think is going to be easy.
Rooney and
Who?
Rooney.
Yeah, I agree.
Sergio.
And- So these are the options.
it's
You got
Drogba.
Aguero, Drogba. If you wanted to go back in and look at United's ones, you got Cantona and Van Nistelrooy and all these. Like, there's so many great strikers.
I think one City
up
player,
front,
lads. We need one
up
City
front
player in
it's
the 11.
Rooney, and then it's
You could go
Drogba
Rooney, Aguero.
or Aguero.
I always flip-flop on Aguero, Drogba. Have you noticed this?
Yeah, I have noticed it. It's
We've
really
had
annoying.
2 debates where one of them I went
Yeah,
Drogba
yeah.
ahead of Aguero, and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
other I
yeah.
went
I think
Aguero ahead
that's-
of
I just want a
That's-
bit of consistency, Adam. That's all I want.
I think that's the answer, isn't it? It's Rooney
think,
plus Drogba.
If it's a
or
cup final,
Aguero.
it's Drogba, but we're talking about Premier
What
League.
partnership works better?
Aguero's
Do you
got
think?
more goals in the Premier League.
Rooney and
Aguero,
Aguero.
Rooney.
Who would Rooney rather play with?
Aguero.
Do you not think Drogba?
100%.
I feel
If
like
you ever
Drogba
look
is a
at
foil.
Vardy talk, all these professional Kane talks about Aguero. They always put Aguero above all these other strikers. Always.
Also, I think
but
Rooney and
that's not the
Drogba
same
sometimes
question.
would drop into
That's
the
not
same
the same question.
spaces.
Who would you rather play with? Isn't the same question.
I'd rather
as-
play with Sergio than Drogba.
I don't think you would. you
I
know.
would, 100%.
No, that's because he
Dro-
loves him, though.
Drogba, but no, not you personally. But Drogba will make life far easier for you.
What? Because you lump it up to him.
Well, partly,
This is
yeah.
we're in
It's not as
2025.
crude as that, but yeah, it's the physicality. It's bringing
Yeah, it's a
others
big
into
part of his
play,
game.
playing with his back to goal. It's
But Aguero's got a better finisher, and that's more important to his game than Drogba's ability to link up play, physically speaking, which is a massive part of it. And his cup final
that's-
goals is huge as
It's
well.
not bigger than the question I asked. The question I asked was, who do you think Rooney would rather play with if you?
Yeah,
could...
Rooney would rather play with someone that's better at finishing. I think.
I'm not sure. I think we've kind of done that. We got
I'd
stuck.
put
We're never going to
Kante
agree.
over Scholes.
We're never going to agree on the midfield.
Kante's better than Scholes.
No.
I think if it's a Chelsea player, it's never Kante over Lampard. It's just not.
Kante's better than Lampard. Different positions.
Lampard's our best
They're
ever
just
player.
different players, man.
Lampard's our best ever player.
Like, you need a Kante and you need a Lampard or a Scholes.
Yeah.
Like,
There's
you
no,
need
there's
both.
What
no
can I say?
as much as every Chelsea fan I know loves N'Golo Kante. No Chelsea fan I know would ever put N'Golo Kante's contribution to Chelsea
of
over
course.
Frank
Oh, no,
Lampard's.
contribution, of course not.
Rory, Kante or Dennis Wise?
Wise. Oh, Dennis Wise. Right, on that, we're not going to get trolled. Let's move on to the next voice note.
Hey guys, it's Gabe, the Bournemouth fan again.
Oh, it's back to
So
you, Bruce.
I think Antoine Semenyo is currently the best two-footed player in the Premier League. I think that especially shows given his pretty equal goal tally between his left foot and his right foot, when apparently his right foot is stronger, but also just his shot power and his technical ability on both feet. It's extraordinary. I think Semenyo also is the best two-footed player to ever play for Bournemouth. And my question from that is, who has been the best two-footed player to ever play for your clubs that was not one of the world's best?
It's a great question.
That's not one of the world's best.
What's he talking about?
Who's Chelsea's
ha-
best ever two-footed player?
That isn't one of the world's best.
That you give them a strike on the edge of the box on their left and right foot, and they're probably going to score it.
So,
So
no,
they're
but
kind
he's
of
saying
going,
that
who's an
isn't good.
underrated two-footed player?
Lewis Baker. He used to take corners either side with his. Both corners would be in swinging.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, Lewis Baker, if he took a corner, he'll take it left-footed from the left and right-footed
Where
from
is
the
he now? Is he still playing?
Milton Keynes.
So he's still playing. I don't know what
Yeah,
era
no, he's
this
still
was.
playing.
Yeah. I've heard the name.
He's still playing.
Well,
Like,
De
the
Bruyne
obvious
for
one
me,
for me
I
was
mean,
like Cristiano Ronaldo. Like, he scored
Yeah.
great goals off both feet. Lewis
He's at
Baker at
Stoke.
Stoke.
Lewis Baker's at Stoke.
No, he got relegated.
6 goals, 2 assists this season. Fair play.
Yeah, yeah.
But he as a two-footed player, he was like sensational.
I've seen De
for it.
Bruyne whip it in with score a hat trick.
He's not underrated.
I love the
Mate,
idea
I've
of-
gone Lewis Baker and you've gone De Bruyne.
I
Have
love
you
the
missed
idea.
Oh,
out?
is it underrated?
Of Lewis Baker watching this show, listening to the question and going, I wonder who's going to say. Fuck, he said me!
I love that I said Lewis Baker and he went, there's this little known talent
Mate,
that
he
you may
said-
not have heard of. His name is
said
Kevin De
me.
Bruyne.
Two-footed. Oh,
Kevin
wow.
De Bruyne. You can't, one of us, me or Buvey, have massively understood that voice note wrong. Because never
So he
is
wants
the,
the
never is
worst
the
player that's
answer.
two-footed
Yeah,
to play
like
for your
the
club.
most underrated 2-footed
Never
player.
is the answer to a question either Lewis Baker or
He
Kevin
said
De Bruyne.
Ronaldo. He said Ronaldo.
All right, I've got an underrated one. Dennis Irwin. Could play left
That's a
back,
good
right
shout.
back.
That's a good shout.
Scored with both feet,
That's a
penalties,
great
free
shout.
kicks,
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Dennis Irwin.
That's
there
a
you
great
go.
shout. Yeah, I don't.
Lewis Baker would take the penalty left foot or right foot. didn't care. Just take the penalty left footed, right footed. Didn't
Scott
care.
Sinclair was good with his left foot and his right foot.
There
That
we go.
question's bad.
I never ever thought Lewis Baker would be an answer to any question on this show. That's
Thank-
the beauty of the show.
Thank you for watching, Lewis. See, your
Let's
name
move
did
on to
come
the
up.
next voice note.
What's up, guys? My name is John, and I think we need to establish what world class means when it comes to footballers because people overcomplicate it. It's a very simple, very easy thing to decide. You can pull a player out of any team and put him anywhere else, and he will look the part. You can take them from Brentford, you could take them from Chelsea, and you can put them in the best teams. You can put them in Madrid, Barca, Bayern, and it doesn't matter because they'll look the part. That is what a world class footballer is. They can play anywhere in the world and look class.
Yeah, top 2 or 3 in your position.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Top
But
2
what
and
you
3
can't be.
limits it though, doesn't it? Because almost if you kind of go like, let's think of a position right now.
Right wing, because there's a lot of good right wingers.
So you got
Yeah,
Lamine
yeah.
Yamal, Saka, you got
Salah.
Salah, you
Rodrigo.
got- So you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah.
if there was a 4th or a 5th, you go, oh, they can't be world class because there's 3 others.
I think
That's
that's
a good
there,
shout.
there
can
has
be
to be a, there
sometimes.
has to be a cut off though, because you can't have 8 world class players.
Can you have but you could.
I don't
In,
think you
in
can.
Lampard's era,
could, 'cause-
Lampard was world class. You had Ballack, Essien, Gerrard, Scholes was playing at the same time. They're all world class.
Yeah, that's true. But what makes it more difficult? I would say, do you know, in his voice note there, he said something along the lines of, "You could take them out of Brentford and put them in." I would go so far as to say that you can't be a world class player if you aren't doing it on a world class level, and doing it at Brentford isn't world class.
Unless you have one season, then go.
It's
Yeah.
interesting. I
But
don't
you're not world class. So Sadio Mane wasn't world class at Southampton.
No, until he went to.
He went to Liverpool,
he had
won the
world
Champions
class
League.
potential.
He had world class potential, but you're not world class. I don't believe that Kylian Mbappe could be the world's best player whilst he was playing
He's
in a league
been
that isn't
world
the world's
class
best.
in periods though. He's just not consistently.
I just
been
don't
world
believe
class.
that you qualify for world class into the world class debate until you are doing it in a
It's
world class
interesting.
league.
Yeah, but I said Cole Palmer's world class at Chelsea, and with all due respect, he was never playing in the Champions League for you lot in the last couple of
But
years.
he's playing in
Oh,
the
so he
but
was
he's
But
playing
I've
playing
seen
in
a
very
level
early.
against Brighton. I was like, oh my
Do you
god.
still think he's world class?
He's a world class
no,
player.
not, potential.
He has
now.
world class ability.
He is a world class player. He's not on form, but doesn't mean that he's.
So Sir Alex Ferguson was asked to name his world class players, and I disagree with him, but he said that he only had 4.
In the whole, okay,
Yeah,
I can do this. I'll get this right. In his entire Manchester United time, the 4 world class players that he named. Okay, let's do this together. I reckon he's gone. Rooney, he has to have gone Rooney.
Yeah, Rooney,
Giggs,
Cantona,
yeah, Rooney, Giggs, Cantona,
Dennis Irwin.
Schmeichel.
No joke.
3 of
No, I
the
don't
names
think
you
he
said
rated-
so far wrong.
3 are wrong, so we've got 1 right. Is Rooney right?
No, he didn't.
He didn't rate Rooney.
So he's
Keane.
Hang on, we're gonna get this. Keane,
no. That's why I disagree with him, by the way. But
Cantona.
Yeah.
Cantona's it.
Okay, so Cantona he said is
Stam.
world class. Schmeichel.
No goalie.
Oh, Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Okay,
he has to say
Cantona. Yeah, Cantona, Ronaldo,
This should be easy for you now. 2 more.
Giggs.
Yeah.
Cantona, Ronaldo, Giggs, and
Scholesy.
Scholes.
Those were the 4 he mentioned. He also mentioned Peter Schmeichel and Wayne Rooney, but those were the 4 he said are world class. And I disagree with him.
We
I
kind of
think
got that
United-
right because we said all those. We got it right.
I think
Me and
United have
Fergie.
had far more than 4 world class players in his time. But it's just weird how different people define
Does he
it.
mean at any point in his managerial career he could have had them guys and he would have won the league with them? Is that what he's trying to say?
Maybe. Maybe.
Like
I don't
in the
know.
90s, 2000s.
It's amazing the players, the quality of players that he doesn't necessarily see as world class. Then Beckham, he doesn't see as a world class player when he finished second in the Ballon d'Or, won a treble.
Or maybe his definition of it is different. It's like you have to play at this level for this long. And like Beckham left him after a certain point, so he would have less opinion on it.
Very, very
But like for
interesting.
me,
It's-
like
the-
Wayne
Rio
Rooney's a
Ferdinand.
tapping world
Where's
class.
Rio
Rio Ferdinand's a
Ferdinand?
tapping. The man
10 years at the
Yap
top.
Stam.
yeah,
also-
very interesting.
We've got Kai, a big Arsenal fan. How you doing, mate?
Hello, hello.
How are you,
Yes,
Kai? You're
Kyler.
live on the club.
Thank you. How's everyone?
Very well,
Oh,
sir.
thanks.
How
so
are you?
good, mate. So good.
I'm good, thank you. It's nice to be here.
Good. Where
Good
are
to
you?
Get chosen, to be honest. I'm in Nottingham.
Very nice. The glamour.
Nice part of the world.
The glamour, yes.
Love
Big
it.
Club here.
Love it. And you're an Arsenal fan?
I am, yes. Both my parents were born in London, so I kind of got it by default. So,
Mhm.
yep.
What's your point today, Kai?
My point today is Arsenal will always be the second biggest club from the UK and are bigger than Liverpool on a global scale, as well as.
Did you
barring
say
something
UK or England?
What's the
UK.
difference?
So
There's a big
What's-
difference
but real-
because you're not bigger than Celtic or
Who?
But-
you
Bigger than
can't be
Celtic.
serious.
Who?
You can't-
Arsenal?
You can't.
Arsenal
they
bigger
are.
than
You saying
Celtic.
Arsenal are bigger than Celtic? Are you?
Arsenal bigger
Of
than
course they
Celtic.
are.
Do you know how many
course
fans Celtic
Yeah.
are?
Celtic playing
Mate.
League Two standard football.
Go on.
It's like
Okay,
saying
sorry,
Arsenal are
Kai.
bigger than Cardiff City.
Don't be fucking crazy.
Oh, that's
Kai.
not true either. Got that wrong again.
But-
They're in League One,
Alright,
Cardiff.
The second point was barring something catastrophic, City, Chelsea, and Spurs will, in my opinion, always be smaller. And when I say barring something catastrophic, I mean like back-to-back relegations or Spurs winning 5 Champions Leagues in a row.
Yeah,
think,
that point's true. Arsenal are certainly a lot bigger than Tottenham, a lot bigger than Chelsea by a particular definition, and whatever other club you said. But I need to hear your rationale for Arsenal being a bigger club than Liverpool.
Who do you think are the biggest club in England?
Man United, and I won't even touch that.
So why do you think
Um,
Arsenal are bigger than Liverpool? Because those are the team. That's
Because-
the team we consider.
Because I'm from a background in which I've travelled to a lot of parts of the world, and I think that when it comes to being a big club, there are a lot of things that constitute towards being a big club. So there are different metrics, so to speak, like your domestic accolades, European accolades, your club's financial capabilities, how far spread out your fan base is across the world.
Did you just say
it
European
gives-
accolades?
Yeah. Okay. When I say European accolades, Arsenal don't have like
Checkmate.
one. Not in no. Regardless of the Champions League, we have like one European accolade. Which when I say that, I'm talking about it's not all based off of just a European accolade. So there's a lot of things that go towards being a big club, and depending on the combination of those, some hold more weight than others, obviously. But I think that with that, yes, Liverpool have more European accolades than Arsenal. But from my perspective, when I've travelled the world and when I see countries in Southeast Asia, in Asia, in Africa, even in America, even people that don't watch football, even people that are not interested in the sport, you will see them talking about Arsenal.
Okay, let's
And
just
when
talk about
I-
this then, Kyle. Let's just because firstly, I think you're wrong massively. I think you're wrong on this definition. But let's just momentarily pretend that it's true. Let's just go
What's
with your definition
What's
here.
what's your definition?
You're saying here that one of the reasons that Arsenal are a bigger club than Liverpool is because Arsenal have more fans globally. I don't believe that to be
Yes.
true, but let's just pretend that is true now, and I'm not going to argue it. You're still not bigger. Even if it's true that Arsenal have more fans globally than Liverpool, Liverpool is so much stronger on so many other metrics that it doesn't
What would
even
those
matter.
metrics be?
Well, what
would
about
those metrics
6
be?
European Cups, mate?
Okay. And
20
everything
league
else?
titles.
More league titles,
20 league titles.
more league cups.
The only thing you've got more than of Liverpool are FA Cups.
But also, you have a pitiful record in Europe. They are this country's representative to Europe. They're in final after final, whether they win it or lose it. Like, you're incomparable. You're completely incomparable to them in Europe.
And when I come to this point about it being a more so a combination of different things, I do think that my weakest argument in regards to this is our European accolades, and obviously we are in the semi-final now, and I do have hope that we will win it. So I do think that if we do win it, then it's kind of it's
Still
another conversation,
6-1
in my
though,
opinion,
isn't
this year. But in regards to also as well, in regards to the history of the club, and I like to go back to a lot of transfers in either players that actively talk about either Arsenal or Liverpool, even in this day and age. I think that in regards to a type of glamour that I guess not comparable to clubs like Real Madrid or Barcelona, but or Man United for that in that example, is people don't usually, and even in this country, I think in a sense Liverpool are disrespected a little bit in regards to this, not really seen as a club that, if given the choice between, I guess, with whichever order you put them in, the top 3 clubs in the country, which are Man United, Arsenal, Liverpool, I think the majority of people would prefer to go to either Man United or Arsenal.
What, as a transfer? As a transfer?
As a transfer, and I say this because even when we were in the absolute mud, I was growing up. Me growing up in school was bullied by Man United fans because we always got dogged on by them. Even when both Arsenal and Liverpool were both in the mud, players would have typically wanted to either go to Arsenal or stay at Arsenal, as opposed to going to Liverpool.
But hold on, there was
one really, really, really big one that I think is the Luis Suarez transfer. It was not hidden at all that in that time period, Luis Suarez wanted the transfer to Arsenal. But
he didn't go. He did. Carlos Tevez wanted to stay at Man United. I can put my whole life on that. Carlos Tevez did not want to join Man City. He wanted to stay at United. But he went to Man City. He went to Man City. Sergio Aguero probably wanted to go to Man United instead of Man City.
I think that's a little bit skewed because
London.
The players that are growing, there's London as well. That is a big point, big factor.
But
Let's say you're signing a player that's 20 to 30 years old. They likely remember the Thierry Henry days and things like that, and that will be an attraction to them.
There's very little in it between Arsenal and Liverpool. I think the weight of Arsenal is certainly skewed by the fact that a lot of players and their families would want to live in London.
But that is also a constitution to a contributing factor towards a club being big. Like, this is why I think that obviously there are different weighing points about what makes a big club. And
so you have to be from London to be a big club.
I do think being in the capital city, barring obviously Manchester United, because I think that their gravitas.
No. Listen, this is crazy, man. Kai, stop it, Kai, stop it.
But
Liverpool right now can argue with Manchester United that they are the biggest club in England. Arsenal can't argue with either of them, man. This is crazy.
There's a debate as to whether Arsenal are the biggest club in the capital, let alone comparable to.
You're not bigger than Chelsea.
It's so funny.
Why are you bigger than Chelsea?
Why do you think you're bigger than Liverpool?
Why are you bigger than Chelsea?
Bigger than Chelsea?
You've never won a European Cup.
Chelsea went to club 20 years ago.
Well, they signed a Ballon d'Or winner, Shevchenko. They went out and got Fernando Torres from Liverpool. They didn't work out, but they were big transfers. They signed Drogba, which was unbelievable. Ballack, captain of Germany.
That's
so they're bigger Arsenal.
The fact that they ran into a lot of money, and let's be honest, as soon as that money has left, well, the money hasn't left, but I guess the type of money that has left in regards to their owners, now look at the state they're in. And the only reason why they're getting any kind of players anyway is because basically they're throwing the entire Bank of America at their project. And even then, players still don't want to go. They have to tie them down to $500,000 a week contract for 50 years.
Chelsea and Arsenal.
Even then, players still want to prefer to go to Arsenal.
Kai, I don't have it in me to argue with you about Chelsea and Arsenal. I will concede to you that Arsenal are a bigger club than Chelsea. But Chelsea and Arsenal are far closer in stature than Arsenal and Liverpool.
Yeah, bang on.
In my opinion, I don't think that. I think
it's great. That's cool. Like, some people think the world's flat. Some people think that they could go out with Jennifer Aniston. Some people think that they could beat up 100 gorillas. It's cool for you to think it, right? It's cool.
100 gorillas.
Buvey actually believes it, but
only 40 of us.
It's cool for you to think it. But I don't care about Liverpool or Arsenal. I have no dog in this fight. Liverpool are a far bigger club than Arsenal, and you are basically the only Arsenal fan I've ever heard make the case that there's anything in it.
You're the only one, man.
So I'll pass it over to you.
You said European accolades. You actually said that as a metric.
You shut yourself.
You actually came on. You went. One of the metrics is European accolades.
That's what you call an own goal, there, mate. That's what you call an own goal.
Yeah, it's a Lee Dixon. Okay, Lee Dixon chipping Seaman.
It's not an own goal because I can see the fact that there are multiple ways that you can put. That you can gauge whether someone is a big club or not. And obviously, even though Arsenal haven't won any, I can still say that yes, having a European trophy does contribute.
You don't have a European. You have the Milk Cup. You don't have a European. You don't have a European Cup. You have zero European. You have the Milk Cup. You have the European trophy. You have zero European trophies.
However much weight you put on that part,
you put loads on.
I guess down to whoever's having the argument. But
no, it's not.
No, but it's the weight of top tier European silverware is heavy.
Your whole argument also is.
It's one of the first things you brought up.
Your whole argument is basically there's people in Africa that know who Arsenal are, but those people also know who Liverpool are and know that they're more successful.
And those people in Africa would rather have Arsenal, if they're Arsenal fans, would rather have Arsenal win the Champions League than if 1,000 guys know who they are in Southeast Asia. You'd rather win the European Cup every single time.
I don't think that, obviously, that the domestic aspect, although it weighs a lot, and I do think it is not the entire argument that you should be making in regards to how big the club is. For example, I saw a TikTok earlier about...
that's it then. If you saw the TikTok, there we go. He saw it on TikTok.
Let him finish. Let him make his point. Let him make his point.
Yeah, Rory, that's really funny because it was your TikTok. So I'd be quiet.
I don't even have TikTok.
What TikTok was it?
Your argument was...
Come on, quiet.
It was the TikTok about who you was gauging as who was a bigger club. And there was once you said, who was a bigger club, West Ham or Newcastle?
Oh.
And you said West Ham was a bigger club than Newcastle. Right?
Facts.
Who is, between Newcastle and West Ham, who is more successful domestically?
What, over the course of their entire histories?
Yes.
Newcastle.
Domestically. And you said West Ham.
I said West Ham were more successful. That doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, but Liverpool more successful than Arsenal domestically.
He said West Ham were bigger than Newcastle.
Right.
And Newcastle are more
West Ham I think West
domestically.
Ham are bigger than Newcastle.
Right. Okay.
But they aren't bigger than Newcastle because Newcastle were at some point challenging for titles. As far as I'm aware, West Ham never were. And yes, and even then they have won.
But what does
the
challenging
League.
for titles mean? QPR finished a point behind Liverpool once in the QPR were a point away from winning the league.
Did Newcastle win the league?
No, but QPR challenged for the league. You said challenge for the league. QPR finished a point behind Liverpool. QPR going into the final day of the season were top of the league.
Okay.
Liverpool had to play a week later, knowing exactly what QPR had done the week before.
Okay, I guess
doesn't matter, does it?
Even then, I guess challenging does have some kind of metric in it because people start to compare Spurs to being a big club just because they challenged for a few.
Yeah, but Arsenal have challenged less for competitive honours in this country than Liverpool as well. Got less league titles than Liverpool, let alone the European Cups.
In history, I don't.
No, but you can make a case for Tottenham being a big. It's not hard to understand why people would think Tottenham are a big club. It's not hard to
Tottenham are a big club? But why are Tottenham a big club? Why do you think they're a big club? Because they've not won. Can I swear or not?
Say what you like.
They don't win anything. They just kind of sit there.
Can I ask you?
You never swore.
I just need to. I just need to get to gauge something here. So I have some reasons as to why I believe Tottenham to be a big club. Can you think of any? Because I just need to understand what you know about football before I decide whether to go with this or not. You tell me. Give me one reason why Tottenham could justifiably call themselves a big club.
Why I think they could be?
Yeah.
Well, I'm an Arsenal fan, so I think they're a small club regardless, in my personal opinion.
But they're not, are they? They're one of the biggest clubs in the country. There's how many teams are in the? How many teams in this country?
The only reason.
How many teams in the country?
A lot. I don't know, like what, through every single league?
Yeah.
A lot. I don't know the exact number.
Okay.
92.
Yeah. So if there was 92 teams, and Tottenham were, even if you don't like them, even if you put them 10th, it would still make them one of the biggest teams in the country, wouldn't it?
Right, but I think that when you start talking about teams that, with all due respect to those teams that are in, like, well, the majority of the teams that are in League One, League Two, and I guess some teams in the Championship, that percentage doesn't necessarily hold much weight because they're kind of all just kind of.
So why would Tottenham justifiably call themselves a big club?
I think the only argument that Tottenham can justifiably give an argument to them being a big club would be the revenue they have, whether that be from the stadium or whatnot, and I guess their supporting presence in South Korea.
And they won the FA Cup and the league titles.
And they've been league champions twice. And they're the first ever team to win the double. And they've won a European trophy. And there are a million other reasons, right?
Oh, well, yeah, they have won some trophies in.
Did you know that they won? That they were the first team to ever win the double?
No, I didn't. But
well, there we go.
But again, but you can't just put all their weight on the first team to win the double.
No, but I asked you, why would they justifiably call themselves a big club and maybe the first ever team in the entire country to win the double?
But I don't think that necessarily it automatically gives you a place of being called a top club.
No, I said one of the reasons why could they be justified.
Okay, so can you give us more reasons why you think Arsenal are bigger than Liverpool? Because I'm struggling to hear any that make sense. Apart from the one where you said around the world, Arsenal are more recognised. I disagree with that, but I understand.
He said European accolades as well, but then it didn't matter that much.
No, I said it. No, I didn't. I didn't say that. That's a lie. I said that. I said that in the conversation. Stop trying to irritate me. In the conversation, there are lots of reasons as to why that's the case. I said European accolades are in there, obviously, and they hold weight, but it depends how much weight you put on that. I guess it depends.
Kai, can I just wrap up? Can I just wrap up then? So you've got less. So let me just get this right. You got less European Cups than Liverpool. Arsenal got less league titles than Liverpool. Around the world, in my opinion, you've got less fans than Liverpool as well.
I disagree.
So what's the point of what was the point of we've learned nothing in the last 10 minutes.
They've done so. He's managed on giving me a migraine. I don't know if that helps.
Come in again with a different topic, Kai.
And he's done Rory over as well.
Come in again with a different topic and we'll get you on, mate.
Kai, great
thanks very much for your time.
You're wrong.
Great call. You got it completely wrong, but well done.
It was a great call.
Cheers, Kai.
No, we're not agreeing
that we're right.
I'm not agreeing to this.
No, all right, whatever you say, big boy.
Come back again.
Big boy.
Get me off, mate. Get me off.
He's rattled. Kai got around.
See you later, Kai. Cheers, mate.
Kai's our first victim of the day.
Big boy.
He got rattled. He got really rattled. Mate, he done himself over, you know.
Well,
you know
when he started talking about European accolades.
He must have thought,
sorry,
I know deep down in it.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said that. Yeah.
Maybe on social, Arsenal are bigger, like social media. But I don't count that heavy. Of course not.
No,
yeah,
that's
they
not
have more
a thing.
followers.
No, but I'm just if you had to say one thing
Also,
I could lean on.
Do you know his biggest
maybe
argument?
on social media.
I think look, I don't know if there's a way that we could even quantify this, but you know his biggest argument, which was very flimsy, but his biggest point was we've got more fans overall. I don't even think they do.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Also, even if
Liverpool are bigger.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't.
I don't care.
Just nominally, people in America call themselves Liverpool fans. So what?
Yeah,
or call
Arsenal
themselves
fans-
Arsenal fans. So what?
Arsenal fans
Some
got nothing
geezer
else
in
to
North
talk about.
Carolina walks about in a JVC shirt. So what?
Yeah, no one cares.
Who cares?
We've got a Liverpool fan next. Callum, how you doing, mate?
Callum Hudson-Odoi. Callum Best.
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Oh, fantastic, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring this forward because I think it's kind of slept on in a way. I'd say Henry's probably the best player in the Prem in terms of like that's what most people would think, and I believe he's on the platform for Salah to be. So with that, Henry did play on the wing a lot, but he also did play up top as a two, didn't he? Whereas Salah's played his whole career on the wing. He's going the best statistical season of all time in the Premier League this season, and a lot of the time you guys bring up the eye test, and which is fair enough. But if that's the case, then why isn't Adams greatest of all time player Messi, not Ronaldo? Because Messi, as we all know, is a lot better to watch.
Whenever I've said Ronaldo's the best player ever, I do add to that I'm incredibly biased, and it's because I got to see Cristiano Ronaldo win the Ballon d'Or at Man United. So I will always have a little bit of bias in that. There's no bias in the world that should get you to the decision that Salah is the best Premier League player ever, or even in the top three. He's just not.
What's he the best at? Honest question. Now I get this a lot from different angles.
Consistent delivery is something.
Of scoring good goals.
Consistent delivery. Consistent.
Yeah, exactly what Rory said. The consistency. So if you look at players like Thierry Henry, Shearer, Rooney, Ronaldo, Lampard, Giggs, them sort of players,
all consistent.
Out of all of these players, all consistent. Out of all of those players in Salah's 8 seasons as a Liverpool player, including this one, he has the most goals and assists per season out of all of them with 34. The next highest is Henry with 27, and Giggs was last.
Can I just
with
ask
12.
you, if you were to build a team now, and I said to you, you can take Rooney or Salah, who you taking? You can have Henry or Salah, who you taking? You can have Ronaldo or Salah, who you taking?
That game is heavily skewed away from Salah. I agree with you.
But the answer has to be
No, that game.
you
You win that game. Like Callum can't argue with that way of looking at it.
But it's because they're better players.
Yeah, for a single game, I agree. Yeah, I do agree for a single game. But like Rory stated a minute ago, for consistency, time and time again, and Ronaldo, by the way, unbelievable. Henry, unbelievable. Look at the players they were playing around. Salah has had an unbelievable team, but he's gone up against one of the greatest teams I've ever seen in the Premier League in Man City. Without Man City, and I know it's easy to say, without Man City, one of the greatest teams I've ever seen, he would have 4 Premier Leagues. He'd have 4 Premier Leagues.
That's a bit flimsy. Callum, that's not quite fair, Callum, because if Jose Mourinho didn't land at Chelsea, how many titles does Fergie? You know, like
if you have to play the butterfly effect with the greatest player in the history of the Premier League, then you've already lost the argument.
Yeah, do you know what though? I'm gonna make a bit of a case for Callum here. Do you boys think that there is a world where can Salah, so he's staying at Liverpool now, if he plays his cards right, if he works incredibly hard, if he scores the goals at the rate that he will dream of, whilst I concede it's really unlikely, he might end up breaking Ian Rush's goal scoring record.
He could break Alan Shearer's record. He still wouldn't be the greatest player.
No.
Alan Shearer isn't the greatest player. He's got that record.
Definitely.
He's got half as amount of Premier League titles.
No, but Salah would be married. If Salah were to break Ian Rush's record, he goes down as Liverpool's highest ever goal scorer. He also marries it up. He marries that achievement up with domestic and European success.
Look, maybe I'm biased, but he'll just never be better.
Is your argument for him never being better simply he isn't as graceful, he isn't as good on the ball as Henry?
By the way, he's an amazing player. So what I'm talking about, someone I consider the best right winger in the world right now. So I'm not. This isn't me saying Salah is crap. This is not what I'm saying. But when you compare him to some of those players, I just think they're streets ahead of him, and I find numbers and all that kind of stuff coming into it crazy because there's more goals in the Premier League now.
I can, yeah.
And he plays in a front three. He doesn't play in a midfield four where he's got to protect his fullback and he's got to get forward.
Salah's not doing things that transcends football. Ronaldo transcended football at points. Henry took the Premier League to a different level. Like Salah's not taking the Premier League to a different level. He's not even He's not even better than De Bruyne in this era.
He's not even Liverpool's best player in the Premier League.
Like he's not, is he? Like
Suarez, isn't it?
He is.
No, he's Liverpool's best player in this era.
He's not better than Suarez.
He is.
He's better than Liverpool. He's a better Liverpool player than Suarez.
Okay, so people go
because
this season's the most statistically best season for any player. But Suarez in that season when he was at Liverpool is better than anything I've ever seen from Salah.
I think we're merging eras a bit here as well. I don't see the Suarez era and the Salah era as the same thing. But if you want to do a direct comparison between Mohamed Salah's Liverpool career and Luis Suarez's Liverpool career, Salah wins that hands down.
I mean, Liverpool careers, yes. But what I'm saying is Suarez is a better player than Salah.
Suarez's contribution to the Premier League is nowhere near Salah's.
Yeah, but it's not what I'm saying. I'm saying Suarez is a better player than Liverpool.
Yeah, but we're comparing. You're basing that based on what you saw happen at Barcelona.
No, based on what?
Because if we're looking at it straight through,
the things he was doing in the Premier League were better than anything Salah's done for me.
No,
on a technical level, yeah.
No,
just less consistent because he went to Barcelona. If he'd stayed for the same amount of time as Salah in a better side, Salah had Jurgen Klopp and he had Mane, Van Dijk, Alisson. Suarez had Andy Carroll in the same squad as him.
Yeah, he also had Steven Gerrard, Daniel Sturridge.
Sturridge isn't a shout compared to Mane. Mane was like unbelievable.
Callum also mentioned but those guys played with different, better players, I think you said. Am I correct in you saying that, Callum, before I misquote you?
Yeah. I mean, in general,
But then Liverpool fans say Virgil van Dijk's the best centre-back to ever grace the Premier League. The keeper's the best goalkeeper to ever grace. Trent was the best right-back until he decided he wants to go Real Madrid. You guys say all these players are the greatest the Premier League's ever seen, but then
Fabinho.
But then Salah is amazing what he's done because he's playing with these players, but thought they were the best ever.
I completely.
And if they were the best ever, why haven't you defended it?
No, you've picked out the three players, yeah, absolutely. But then we've got a midfield, like we're talking systematically brilliant. But you're talking about Gini Wijnaldum and Henderson. Right. You're never going to put those.
Wayne Rooney can go. I had to play with Darren Gibson and that for a bit.
Yeah, of course. And Wayne Rooney is a brilliant player. I'm not
stating the best player. Mo Salah is better than Wayne Rooney?
Is Salah better than Wayne Rooney in the Prem? Yes, I do believe that.
Fucking hell.
In 150 less games.
I don't care about that though. I just look at the catalogue of goals
pure,
from both.
Rooney's numbers aren't pure because he was getting asked to play out all these different positions. Like if Rooney just said I want to be a number 9 ruthless for 10 seasons, he'd outscore Salah.
Haaland scored more goals than Henry. Do you think Haaland's better than Henry?
Callum?
No, that's where you're going on about, because consistently he hasn't done, as I say, he hasn't consistently done that over many seasons.
Who, Haaland?
So you can't say that.
Haaland has.
Haaland.
He's scored 100 goals in 3 seasons for Man City.
Yeah, but it's 3 seasons. It's not nearly a decade.
It's 3 seasons. Yeah.
At this rate, he'll outscore Salah in the same amount of games.
It's three seasons, and the second season's been poor. The third season's
still
been
scored
poor.
30 plus goals a season.
Yeah, but it'd be like me saying Cole Palmer scored loads of goals this season.
Palmer's not scored 30 goals a season.
Palmer's got 30 goal contributions this season.
Haaland's scored 30 goals a season. Got Palmer
has 30 goal contributions, but I wouldn't try and present Cole Palmer as having a good season.
I've not said that. Based on
you're saying that
Haaland's
had a good
averages
season.
in the last 3 years,
yeah.
if he stays the exact same amount of time as Salah's currently staying, he will outscore Salah.
Yeah,
that is a fact.
But what we're
Palmer
saying is
won't.
we're
Palmer's not on the
also
same
talking
level.
about consistency, and I'm saying that Haaland in his third, you said 3 seasons,
he scored 100 goals.
Two of them he was great. One of them he hasn't been very good.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Callum,
so the
still scored 30
consistency
goals.
isn't there.
Callum, a lot
That's
of
not a
people
good
will
season, is it?
agree
It's
with you
not
at
had a
home,
good season.
although we don't in the studio. Any final words before we wrap this call up?
Like you say, I completely think that's fair, and it's not necessarily he's definitely the best. I'm not saying he is definitely the best, but like when you say he's not top 3,
I don't even
in
think
my
it's in the
opinion,
conversation for me. Maybe I'm.
But
biased.
but
Maybe
for
I'm deluded.
Omri, for example, Omri, he's about to match his golden boots of 4, and he's about to go past everyone for PFA Player of the Year if he wins it this season.
You genuinely think Henry is a worse footballer than Salah as a footballer?
I didn't say he's worse. I said I'm talking about Premier League. I think Salah has done more in the Premier League than Henry. I don't think he's necessarily a better player.
He has done more in the Premier League.
Same amount of Premier League titles.
So,
How many European Cups?
One.
1 European Cup, yeah.
He's got less
Still one
goals.
more.
No, Salah's outscored Henry.
Salah's outscored Henry.
But I just can't.
mad when you go-
Henry.
Like Henry nowadays would score 40 goals in this Premier League.
That's hypothetical.
No,
because
but the league's easier now.
Salah, fair enough, but Salah has to also press a lot more than Omri ever have to do. He
That's
has
a
to
good
defend more than Omri had ever had to do, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's all difficult. And look at the amount of games, as you guys have said. Salah's got to play way more games than Omri ever had to.
Can we not just
So
say
he's
he's
gonna
top
be-
10 of
But
all
also,
time? I think it's fair to say he's top 10
people
of
like
all
to
time.
compare him to Ronaldo and 07-08, yeah, and say Salah's better. But in 07-08, Cristiano Ronaldo did it in the Champions League, Premier League. We got to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, and he was smashing it every single week. And you could just look at him and go, "That's the best player in the world right there." I don't think I've ever felt the same about Mo Salah.
I get what you're saying.
I was
Salah. Fortunate.
I've thought
I
Salah
was
at
fortunate
various
to be
points. I've thought
alive.
Salah's best player in the world at various points. At the beginning of this season, I'd
Beginning of
certainly
the season,
the
yeah.
beginning of this season. It's not even that long ago. 5 months ago, I thought Salah was the best player in the world.
There was people like I remember Jamie Carragher saying Cole Palmer was the best player in the Premier League around that time.
I can only give you my
Like, you know,
opinion.
I know, and
Yeah.
that's your opinion,
Yeah.
but it's like there was even periods where they were going, Mano is better than Salah. Like Salah hasn't even been the best player consistently at Liverpool. That's not to say
I
he's been
think he
crap.
has. I think he has.
He has won since he's been here. He's won half of our Player of the Season awards, and one of them he was, as Rory stated, he was injured after AFCON for a long time. So if you take that into consideration, that's 4 out of 7 seasons he's won it for us.
Yeah.
I would say he's probably been our best player over that period.
I think the one thing that we can all agree on here is a great call as well. The one
Thank
thing
you,
that we
Cal.
can
Thank you.
all agree on is that Mohamed Salah is top 10 Premier League players of all time. We don't even all agree on that.
I
Brilliant.
don't agree. On
Buvey, do you agree on
Yeah,
that?
top
Buvey seems to look fairly
10.
uninspired as well. Well, at
just
least,
about top 10, yeah.
me and Callum, you and I can agree
Doesn't
that
move
Mohamed
me
Salah
like
is
that,
top
man.
10 Premier League
He's
players.
not better
of
than
all time.
Henry or Rooney.
We're now going to talk Arsenal. We're going to talk to Hanif. I believe we've spoken to Hanif before. He had a pop at you last time, Booth.
Did he?
Yeah.
What
Bring
for?
him back. Come on, Andy.
Come on, Hanif.
Go on, Andy.
Get in here and teach Buvey a lesson.
Again.
All right, everyone, I've come back.
Yes, mate. How are you?
Back
Yeah,
in the
I'm doing good.
bag.
You here to have a pop at Buvey again?
No, well,
Oh.
we'll see.
See you
what
later,
he
then,
thinks.
Hanif.
See how it
Catch you later,
goes. See how
man.
it goes. The night is young.
If Arsenal win the Champions League, Declan Rice will be in the runnings to win the Ballon d'Or.
Oh, fucking hell.
Well, I don't think it's a bad
Yeah, he
shout.
will be in the running.
I think you can disagree
will
if he deserves it. He'll be in the
If
shout.
No. What he said is spot on.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
But if Declan Rice is the best player in the world, just kill me now. I hate football.
What is a guarantee, Hanif? What's a guarantee is that when the list comes out, you know, when we get like, I don't know, what do they do? Top 50. Declan Rice is on the list, no doubt. Now,
Top 5. Look at Carvajal.
yeah.
He was third.
Well, at one point, it looked like Carvajal was going to win it.
Yeah,
Do you know who's actually
yeah.
going to win it? Rafinha.
Yeah, Rafinha. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
But no, there's
a
there's
lot
no
of football
doubt
to
here,
play.
Hanif.
There's a
Hanif,
lot
there's
of football to
absolutely
play.
no doubt. Declan Rice will be in contention for the Ballon d'Or if Arsenal win the European Cup.
If he has a poor game against PSG and a poor final, then he's nowhere near. But if he
If
scores in one of
Declan
those
Rice
3
wins,
games,
wins the Ballon d'Or, we should all pack up and just fuck this whole football thing up.
But the thing is,
There's not a
whether
chance
it's
he's the
right
best.
or wrong, if there is a major tournament, if there is a major summer tournament, the winner of that team will probably have a huge impact on who wins the Ballon d'Or. So Rodri winning the Ballon d'Or was obviously directly linked to Spain winning the Euros.
Yeah, and
Winning the World
on the back of the
Cup in
treble and
Qatar
stuff.
was obviously directly linked to Messi winning.
there's nothing this summer.
But when there's nothing, it will come
Yeah.
down to the Champions League. So when there's no summer tournament, the Champions League reigns supreme. So if Arsenal win the Champions League, rightly or wrongly, the way the Ballon d'Or has a tendency to work, rightly or wrongly, the Ballon d'Or winner will probably come from Arsenal. Barcelona win it will probably come from
Yamal.
Even if Barca don't win it, it'll maybe come from there because
Yeah,
of how
I
good
agree.
they've been consistently throughout
Pedri
the
or
season.
something.
Because of Arsenal's league campaign, it's never really.
If Arsenal win the Champions League, heaven forbid. But if
Second-
Arsenal win the
But
Champions League,
UEFA also are very harsh on English players. And
less
England
so now though.
clubs.
Look at Rodri. They
English
could have
clubs.
easily given it to Vinicius, but they gave it to Rodri.
I guess.
And
That's
you know,
true.
Man City been at war with them as well.
Mm.
So no, Hanif, do you think if it goes to an Arsenal player, do you think that history's still being written? So it will depend on what happens in the final and the semis and whatever else. But
I think yeah, what happens in the finals, the semi-finals is definitely going to impact that decision greatly. But if you just take what Declan Rice has done for Arsenal in the Champions League into account, 2 man of the match performances against Real Madrid, right, against 2 legs. How many players in the history of football can say they've got a man of the match in both legs against Real Madrid?
N'Golo Kante.
Yeah, not many English players. Like, it's incredible. It's Steven Gerrard stuff what he did against Real Madrid.
Yeah, there's no doubt. But do you think that's right, Hanif? You know, if it were to, let's just pretend that Arsenal do win the Champions League and it's going to go to an Arsenal player. Do you think that it should go to Rice, or do you think that there are other more worthy players within the Arsenal framework? I'm thinking here of Bukayo Saka.
There are definitely a lot of players in the Arsenal squad who, if they win the Champions League, are up there, right? But when you think about the players who are always there in the top moments, the ones who always make an impact in the big moments, when you think of Arsenal's Champions League campaign, what's the first thing you're going to think of?
Oh,
Declan Rice's free kick.
Bukayo Saka's Panenka.
That's one thing. But most people think of Declan Rice against Real Madrid. If he has another big moment like that, I think it's written. It's done. Its destiny will be written.
If you win it, if you win it, I think
that's a big if.
Do you see why it's so important that Arsenal don't win the Champions League?
It might be the worst. If that happens, it will be the worst Ballon d'Or winner ever.
What, Rice? Why have you got? Do you not rate Rice?
Mate, I think Declan Rice is fantastic. He improves every team in the Premier League.
It's a good shout.
So why?
Not a fucking chance. He's the best player in the world.
Even then it's Cannavaro, who's probably been the worst in the last 30
but
years.
even kind of like won the World Cup
Cannavaro's
and
one of the
stuff.
best defenders of all time. Right.
Has a goalie ever won it?
Well, we got to wrap it up.
Lev Yashin.
Lev Yashin. Did he win it?
Yeah.
I think Buffon got quite close at some point as well.
Neuer.
Alisson got. Was it Alisson or Edison that got
Neuer
quite
got
close?
really close in 2000.
Yeah, but fucking.
At one point, Edouard Mendy was going to win it.
We have to start. Like,
Who do you think deserves a Ballon d'Or then? Someone like Yamal?
Yamal.
Well, if they win the
Pedri.
Copa del Rey only, then definitely
Can I make a case? While we're talking Ballon d'Or, what do you think of this, Hanif? Do you believe in a world where the cumulative contribution to football should be acknowledged? You know, in the way that Leonardo DiCaprio won an Oscar? Like, it was just
Ryan Giggs
cumulative.
won the PFA Player of the Year.
Yeah. Is there a
No,
world...
was it Sports Personality when he
Sports
shouldn't have?
personality.
Yeah.
Do you think Mohamed Salah perhaps deserves a Ballon d'Or? Maybe Harry Kane perhaps deserves a Ballon d'Or.
That's exactly what I wanted to address as well. It's if it was who was the best player in the entirety of the season, it goes to Mohamed Salah, hands down. What he's done at Liverpool.
Why?
Is
What happened against PSG? Where was he?
Yeah, that's
Where was he
also
against
another-
Newcastle on his
Either
holidays?
Salah or Harry Kane or
Kane, isn't it?
Where was
Or
Kane in the
Yamal.
Champions League?
Kane
Lamine
winning his
Yamal.
first trophy at Bayern Munich.
By the way, Lamine
wraps it
Yamal's
up
just
with a
ridiculous,
Ballon d'Or.
Lamine Yamal's just ridiculous.
Where was Salah against PSG?
With Ballon d'Or.
Kane
better than
would
Wayne
deserve
Rooney.
a Ballon d'Or over Declan Rice, regardless of what happens in the Champions League, though, wouldn't he?
He'd deserve it more, yes.
Yeah.
Because just based off this call, he's put it down to 2 games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Hanif? You think that Declan Rice for the Ballon d'Or? How confident?
Really? Who else is going to win it? It's down to the best team in the Champions League at the end.
Who's that?
Arsenal the best team in the Champions League, so it's
Barcelona
You're
look.
not better than Barcelona.
Barcelona look fantastic.
You're the
mate.
second best
Inter.
team in the
I think you get crunched by Barca, man.
No.
Mate.
The only game Arsenal lost this season in the Champions League was was against Inter, the 1-0 in the penalty.
Doesn't matter. When
That's
you get
the
to the
only
final,
game that-
the last time you played
That's the only
Barcelona in a
game-
Champions League final, what happened?
Giuliano Belletti happened. That's what happened, Hanif. Samuel
Eto'o
Eto'o
turned
happened.
up.
That's what
Henrik
happened,
Larsson
Hanif.
turned up, baby.
Yeah. Sol Campbell happened. That's what happened, Hanif. Jens Lehmann happened. So put that in your pipe.
Yeah.
Nah, man.
Hanif,
They'll win it.
you're
The
only the
Champions League-
favourites if you play Inter, man. You're not the favourites if you play.
What do you reckon, lads? Declan Rice for the Ballon d'Or, yes or no, Buvey?
No.
Declan Rice for the Ballon d'Or, Adam, yes or no?
Just kill me.
Hanif, you've got to call us back when we know how Declan Rice performs over these 2 legs against Paris Saint-Germain.
100%. I'll be back.
Can't wait to talk to you, sir. Thanks for your call. Thank you to everybody for contributing to this. We really do appreciate it. Please click the link in the description. You will find the link to our Discord. Go in there. You can leave us some voice notes that we will react to. And you could be talking live on the club next week. Thank you as well to Sky Bet. We're incredibly grateful with them for partnering with us for the season. Make sure that you click the link in the description below, and we will speak to you next week. In a bit.